This is Alcohol Freedom Finders. In this episode, we catch up with Aisha, an alumni of our first Alcohol Freedom Finders 30-day program. Aisha is a fantastic advert for our program's potential because, like so many people, before she gave it a go, she had never even considered a life without alcohol. Drinking had been part of her life for years and felt central to her friendships and had never been problematic. She just thought a dry January supporting her friend Justine's new venture would be a fun chance to challenge herself to see if she could go 30 days without booze. But as the month went on, she found that what she was learning was changing how she felt about alcohol altogether. And by the end of the month, her desire to drink again was all but gone. Now a year on, she's alcohol-free and happier than ever. She calls it magic. We call it freedom. Let's get cracking.
Welcome everybody to this week's Alcohol Freedom Finders, and I genuinely couldn't be more excited to welcome one of my dearest friends and our guest today, Ayshea Furlong. Aisha, yes, as I said, is one of my oldest and dearest friends and joined our very first Alcohol Freedom Finding Group Month program back in January last year. And we thought it was a good opportunity with January looming to touch base and see how the year's been. So welcome, Aisha.
Hi.
Hi, Aisha. Great to see you again. Well, let's begin, at the logical beginning, for us at least, what brought you to us in January last year?
Okay, so it wasn't the plan. It wasn't anything planned. It just so happened that it was New Year's Day. And obviously, we've all had a bit of a blast on New Year's Eve and went for a walk with a few of my friends. And it ended in the pub, as usual. And I said, right, who wants a glass of Prosecco? And my two friends went, no, I'm doing dry January. And I was like, dry January? I've never done that before. So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll do that as well. So I went and ordered 3 coffees, and we sat there and we had a really lovely afternoon drinking coffee rather than Prosecco. And then I think it was about the 2nd of January, I was just, on my mobile phone, and something came up from Justine on Facebook. I thought, well, I haven't seen Justine for years. And I just got in touch, and Justine told and explained to me what it was about. And I thought, well, what the hell? Let's give it a go. So it was more about reconnecting with an old friend and going on a journey trying to do dry January. That was it. And I've never gone 4 days without drinking alcohol. So it was an unusual thing for me to even consider doing.
For sure. And actually, I remember sort of at the start of the program, you were like, I can take this or leave it. I'm just doing this for a bit of a laugh. It's nice to see you. So what do you think your goal was at maybe the beginning of the month, and then towards the end of the month, how did that shift for you?
Okay, so I really surprised myself. So my goal just simply was to try and get through January without drinking any alcohol. But I learned so much on the journey each and every day. And because we were a group, I think there might have been about 10 of us that met up on a weekly basis. And we sort of just met up, and we were accountable to ourselves and our achievements or not. We didn't beat each other up about if we did have a drink. It was just an exploration really on how each one of us were doing on this journey. But it was really helped because we had daily podcasts to listen to. It was part of the course, and that opened my eyes up a little bit more about the dangers of alcohol, the long-term dangers, and how bad it is for your health. And everyone will sit there and know it's bad for your health, but we still do it. And I have done it, and I did do it for 30 years, and I just didn't stop. I don't know why I didn't stop. And I think it's because I didn't know how to. Everyone else around me was doing exactly the same. So this course, the dry January, just opened my eyes up to life outside of alcohol and what it looked like. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
That's great. I think you've sort of hit the nail on the head, that the way that we approach it and the way that the methodology works, that it is an experiment, and there's no judging about, how much you drink or how much you don't drink, and whether you have try one or you don't have one, whether you make a month without drinking. The idea is to, through those videos, as you said, we use a companion app from This Naked Mind, and there's a 30-day experiment program there where everyone gets a video every day that sort of triggers thoughts about about the risks, but we actually, and even maybe you were subconsciously you sort of focus on the negative side of drinking, but actually the course tends to focus more on the reasons why we drink, and it kind of debunks the perceived benefits. And I think, for me at least, that was probably the strongest part of the program, is that when you sort of start to see the illusion that drinking is, and realize that actually, you get a bit of a buzz, but the knock-on effects last much longer than the sort of buzz benefit, then it becomes easier to feel less inclined to drink, and it feels easier to leave it on the table. And that's the way that we like to approach it, is that we don't want someone to sort of resist drinking. We want someone to come to the conclusion for themselves that actually they're better off without it. I wonder if that resonates at all with you.
Yes, I suppose it was like there was a helping hand with me every step of the way. So I would, each day, or you watch the podcast, it would say, okay, you're in day 5 now. You might find that you're sleeping better. And you start recognizing, oh, right, actually, and it goes into the science behind on why you're sleeping better. And then it might go into, now you're going to have some sugar cravings. And you sort of go, oh, sugar cravings, or just sort of, having cravings. And of course, I've never had cravings before because I just had a drink. But it was just reassuring that these cravings were normal. And it just provided some support about what you can do to help you get out of those cravings. Why you do it. Why do you drink? The reason why you drink, well, this might be different for different people, but you learn about that and you sort of break it down. Mine was sometimes just boredom. I drink because I just could. I drank because I thought I was funnier. I drank because I was just felt more attractive, and all of these reasons. And then when you sort of get these cravings, and you sort of go, well, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Because I'd usually go, oh, I'll go to the pub. Well, I can't go to the pub because I can't drink. So the group was supportive in giving you some ideas of things you can do. So I'd go to the cinema, or I'd go to theatre. I booked in some really nice things to support me. We had a WhatsApp group, and we shared all of our favourite non-alcoholic beers. That was good fun. So the part of the course was being able to support me and help me, and just feel reassured how my body was reacting and changing to not drinking.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, because quite often when we try and reduce our alcohol or do a dry January, although we know lots of people are doing it, we're really just doing it ourselves, and we do it with willpower alone. And willpower is like a muscle. It's a muscle that can only hang on to the edge of the cliff for so long. This is scientifically true, that willpower just dissipates over time. So what we need is the new beliefs to come up and support us. And what's more important, having the community and the connection of other people doing the same thing. So yes, we set up a private WhatsApp group for only the people that are in that cohort. We message each other sometimes daily, sometimes more than that, depending on what people are experiencing, to offer support, different types of drinks you might want to try, and just a buddy system, if you've had a bad day, or, oh, it's Friday, oh, what are you doing on Friday? What do you normally do on Friday? So I think that accountability and community and connection all mean that willpower isn't such a necessary thing to have. And, all of us want to do a dry January, but sometimes it's difficult because, I don't know about you, but lots of times I hear people getting to about day 4 or 5, they can get through that first week and then it's Friday again and they are knackered and exhausted and want to reward themselves, or they're bored, and all the reasons kick in again. The next thing I just wanted to ask you, because I know that there are hurdles through the month, like we talked about, were there any hurdles in the month that you had to overcome?
Definitely some Friday nights were tricky for me. Friday night was usually going out and having a drink, and everyone was at the pub. All of my friends were at the pub, and initially I didn't feel strong enough to be able to go to the pub and not drink. That was just initially. It didn't last long. I was just really curious about how I was feeling. It was really, it's really, really interesting about how my mind was working and how it was going overtime, and thinking, why am I doing this? Questioning myself, and then I remember just walking up and down the stairs in my house because to pass time, and just to pass time, because I didn't know how to fill my time. And it became apparent to me that I spent so much time just drinking, and I was usually doing it in a social way. It doesn't mean that I'm not social anymore, because I still go to the pub, and I still go to the pub and I still have a drink with everyone else, and I laugh as loud as everybody else, but I get to drive home and everyone loves that. So the Friday nights were particularly hard. The sugar cravings, I've got to say that's probably one thing I feel like I might have replaced the alcohol with a few more cakes and biscuits, because I never had a sweet tooth. I didn't think I had a sweet tooth, but I didn't realize how much sugar, how much sugar there is in alcohol. So, but I don't know whether it is the sugar or it's that need to treat yourself, because I think it's really good to be kind to yourself, and if you've had a tough day at work, to come home and have mince pies and a cup of tea, which is what I did tonight. So that was quite a change, having these sugar cravings. So hot chocolate was something that I'd sort of moved to. What else did I find quite hard? I did have some friends that would say to me, I don't know if I can be your friend if you're not going to drink. I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Fortunately, we're still friends, and she's actually gone long periods of not drinking herself now. But that was a bit of a shock, thinking that there was a chance that my friendships might change. But it just made other people curious, because they watched me change and go out and do things without alcohol. It just made them curious as well about whether or not they could do the same thing.
That's really, really interesting. It's such a common thing, but a lot of what you said there are things that people will be either worried about, or if they've been through a period of not drinking themselves, they'll resonate with that. I know that the amount of time you get back in the beginning, it feels really overwhelming, that you just, what do I do with my time? You're awake in the morning and you're not nursing a hangover, or you're slightly more energetic. Well, what do I do? And in the evening, as you say, if you're not already sort of slouched on the couch after having a few drinks before dinner, you've got all this time back, and you feel like you should be doing something with it. And I think that's the trick, is that eventually you'll think, oh, well, actually, this is a gift. I've got this time back, and it's an opportunity to do other things and pick up hobbies again, or to let your imagination run away with you. That's that's one thing. And I was also thinking that, yeah, that's something that can be really scary for people is, what will other people think about my decision not to drink? And I think people are often, a bit sort of, oh gosh, what does this mean? Will she be the same? What will she think of me? And should I be looking at my drinking? And I think, as long as you are a bit prepared for that, and you understand that people are going to be, want to know why, and want to have, ask you questions, then you can have a plan as to how much you want to share. And you don't have to tell them your full story. You don't have to tell them anything you don't want to. You can just say, I'm just not drinking tonight. I'm just doing a detox. I'm just I'm driving, or anything you that feels comfortable is okay. And people aren't looking at you as carefully as we often think. You sort of think, oh my God, everyone's going to be looking at me. What am I doing with my hands? But so when did you feel more confident? When did you go to the pub for the first time, and how did you do that, and how did it feel?
When did I can't remember. I tried to, particularly when I think I moved into February, when I felt a little bit more comfortable. I didn't want to change my life. So I wanted to still do the same things with the same people, but slightly differently. So I'd make sure I'd go to the pubs that did sell something worth drinking. And there are a surprising number of alcohol-free beers on draft now in the pubs. And I can sit there with my pint of alcohol-free beer, and everyone else is drinking, and nobody would have a Scooby-Doo that I didn't have alcohol in my beer at all. Um, and that just feels really good. And then I don't wake up in the middle of the night going, oh, why did I have that last drink? And I don't wake up with any regrets. I don't wake up with, any hangovers. I wake up every morning feeling amazing, and it allows me to make plans. I don't even have to think about what I might be doing the night before. Without, previously, if I was meeting a friend early in the morning to go for a run, but I had work to do the night before, I probably wouldn't go. But now I don't even have to think about it.
If you're looking to take back control of your drinking, why don't you join our Alcohol Freedom Finders 30-day group program? It's a great place to start because we approach it as an experiment rather than a challenge. Whereas, as well as getting a great detox, you learn the science and the psychology about why you're drunk in the first place. So whether you want to stop altogether or just become a more mindful and moderate drinker, why don't you give it a crack? Use the link in the show notes to sign up to our next Alcohol Freedom Finders 30-day program, and you won't regret it, because no one ever woke up in the morning and said, I wish I'd had more to drink last night, did they? Now, back to the episode.
And that happened quite quickly, I think, because I wanted to make the most of the things that I could do without drinking, without thinking about it. So I became more sociable in different ways. I'm still sociable, but maybe not past 11 o'clock. Yeah, PM that is, not AM.
I think that's the time that most of us say, we like doing exactly the same things, alcohol-free, but, we also like to snuggle up and be in bed before midnight, which is, quite right too. So it seems to me that actually you've become more sociable since stopping drinking, and I've experienced that with you myself, because in May, after probably a decade, Aisha was my bridesmaid. That's how close we were. We really were very close. We loved each other very much, and Aisha moved away, which is why we lost contact. But another reason, and this is me being really honest, another reason why I think we lost contact is we were both drinkers in the evening. So, once you've had a couple of drinks, you just zone out and you watch television and you do the easiest thing to do. You're not sort of sitting there thinking, don't want to be walking up and down my stairs. I want to find something to do. You think about other things. You think about your friends. You plan things. And so in April or May, we actually spent a weekend together for the first time in 10 years, and it was wonderful. We had the best time, and it didn't cross our minds once to have a drink. We celebrated and laughed and had the best time ever, better than ever before. And for me, if I hadn't stopped drinking and Aisha hadn't found me through stopping drinking, we may not have reconnected. And connection is probably my greatest win with stopping drinking and trusting myself in my connections, that the connections I'm having are real and authentic and I can maintain them and I won't forget about them in the morning.
I totally resonate with that. That's one of the things that I really quite like about it is that connection that I have with people. I went on a seminar over 2 days, and you have over in the evening you have to not you have to it's a meal, and you're sitting there with people you don't know, and lots of wine, alcohol flowing, and I was drinking water, sparkling water, and I had just amazing conversations with two people on either side, and found out so much about them, and I was genuinely interested. Whereas in previous days, I would have been just sloshing back the wine and not really connecting or really caring about the conversation or that person. So that felt really positive and really good for me.
That's great. I think a lot of people, before you ever take a break, you sort of think, okay, well, the best I could imagine is, okay, it'll be nice not waking up with a hangover, and people sort of say, perhaps a bit more energy, perhaps I'll maybe they say you might sleep a bit better, or you feel a bit more energetic. Okay, but you give up so much. All my best times are with the drink. All my best connections are with the drink. So it's really powerful to hear that that actually the reality is when you take the drink away and get a little bit of distance from it, you start that you don't miss it, and you're not sort of on edge in a situation where normally you would previously drink. I mean, to begin with, you might well be, but having been through a couple of cycles of going to the pub or going to a social event, you start to trust yourself. Think, oh, actually, no, I can do this without a drink, and actually, then I can connect properly. Then I can be more myself and remember what's gone on. So that's really powerful for people to understand, is that actually, it's not just, oh, I have a problem, I have to stop, poor me, and I'll look over my shoulder and will, for the rest of my life regretting that, I pushed it too far. I'm looking over my shoulder, wishing, scared that I might have another drink, and the alcohol problem will get me. It's getting to that point where you remove drink from the equation and realize actually that everything in your, the way you feel, your neurochemistry is much more in balance. You're more relaxed and happier. And then you think, well, why would I have a drink? Not I can't have a drink. Why would I? That would just, spoil tomorrow and probably spoil tonight as well. So what would you say to someone who's questioning themselves and maybe looking to reframe their relationship with alcohol? What would you say to them?
Just be curious. If they're really interested in, or the considering or the concerned. I mean, I wasn't even concerned about the amount of alcohol I was drinking. It was just about being curious in terms of whether you can, what person you could be without it. I did when we did the course again in July, I did convince, or I encouraged a friend to sort of come along as well. And she was really, amazed that I still hadn't sort of touched any alcohol all year. And she was curious. And I think that she recognized in herself that it wasn't good for her. And she didn't sleep very well. She got very overwhelmed. And her anxiety increased when she was drinking. Whilst it made her feel better initially, it's not a cure. And she was just self-medicating all the time. So just to be curious and to give it a go. There's nothing to lose from doing a dry January. Even if you come out of it more knowledgeable and understand more of the risks and the health implications that it can have, and you reduce or moderate your alcohol. Um, it's been magic for me. I mean, magic. I still can't see myself drinking. I'm not saying I haven't had a drink all year, because I have. I did try a gin and tonic recently, and it did taste nice, but I didn't get any benefits from it. And it actually started about half an hour after I drank it, started making me feel sick. My body was rejecting it. So for me, that was a reminder that, alcohol is poison for your body. It's not good for you, and my body was rejecting it. I don't regret trying the gin and tonic. It was more of a reminder for me on why I decide, it's my choice, decide not to drink alcohol. I I I've had such a great experience from it, and my life has completely changed for the better in many ways. I just want other people to try it and give it a go, because if I can do it, I'm drinking, every night for 30 years, and I've been able to stop. I just believe if I can do it, anybody can do it.
I love that, Aisha. So, what three words, we always like to ask our guests, what three words sort of encapsulate being an alcohol freedom finder for you?
Okay, so definitely liberating. I just feel liberated. I don't feel that alcohol's controlling me anymore, because it did. It controlled me. There was an expectation on me to drink and to be the life and soul of the party. But it's just liberating that I can do what I want, when I want, how I want it, true to myself, true to me, not intoxicated Aisha. I think I feel really empowered, and I'm really proud of myself, and I feel that I've taken control of my life. So I definitely feel some empowerment from that. And also the third word would be healthy. So, and it's kind of like a mental health. I feel mentally healthy, whereas physically I know I'm healthy, because a lot of the stuff that's going on in your body when you're drinking, you don't get to see. So I know that because I'm not putting that alcohol in my system, I'm a lot healthier for it. But I'm mentally healthier, because I don't have that anxiety, I don't have that stress, I don't beat myself up anymore. I'm not good enough, or I can't believe I had another drink, and all of that. So I feel healthier for that.
That's brilliant. I wanted to just say thank you for sharing all that with us. But and I wanted to say thanks for coming, and we can round it all up. But I just reminded me of that story that you said you told us in July about your birthday, and how it was such a reminder to people, to us. We're not giving anything up. You don't have to not enjoy things or miss out. So just tell us briefly about your birthday.
So it was a special birthday, the big 50, and my girlfriends had arranged for us to meet at this bar, and I went down to the bar. It was a cocktail bar, and really, really nice, really, really swanky. And I had a mocktail. I think a few of my friends had mocktails as well, and they were the best cocktails I've ever had. We had a really good laugh, and I don't know, it just felt amazing. I felt connected with all of my friends. And it's funny because I was just speaking to my friend about it just a couple of days ago, about that very evening, and we said that we want to go back because the cocktails were amazing. But it was about being connected, being all connected, being together with a special drink, but it just didn't have alcohol in it. So
That's the elephant in the room, for sure. Alcohol doesn't need to be there. We can be connected, liberated, in control, and healthy, like you say, Aish. And it's just wonderful to see you, be with you again, and have that connections. And thank you for being part of our journey.
thank you.
Bottom of our hearts.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You've changed my life.